Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks, and it's when I'm not tongue-tied, it's the Road to Tier 10 series. It's part 2 of the VK 2001D, the Tier 4 German medium, and I've had a bit of bad luck with regards to this today. I put it on to record it, went into a match, hit record, and it wouldn't. It said it was copywritten content. I just can't talk. Yeah, copywritten content, and it couldn't record it from my Xbox for some reason. And I'm still fairly new to the Xbox. I've not had it long. Found out that when you've been watching Blu-rays on it, sometimes the HDCP stays on for some reason, so you have to reset your console. So nothing too much, but it did mean I had to miss the first match in this today. And wouldn't you just know it, it was a pretty damn good match. I was bottom tier, and I basically came out of it with a daily double of about 3,700 XP. So yeah, bit gutted that I couldn't record that one. That was very unfortunate. Got it sorted, and yeah, wouldn't you just know it, this was the next match. It started alright. I'm bottom tier again. I'm tier 4, don't forget. And well, I've now got this tier 6 medium, is it? Yep. Trying to take me down, unfortunately, and there's a few others coming up over the hill. Luckily, though, there are a few tanks around me on the friendly side that are trying to take him down as well, and even if I do say so myself, I'm not doing too bad a job of avoiding his shots and taking him down, although I did take one there. So, feeling quite pleased with myself, I then get tracked and completely and utterly buggered. So, yeah, that's how the next match went. And, yeah. But, never mind, here's the next one. And what I've actually done with this one is these are all the matches that I played today in this, which got me from, well, just from fully upgraded, which I got to in the last video, to the Panzer 3-4, which is the next tank. And I've really enjoyed this tank. I've just missed it completely on my PlayStation 4. But I have really enjoyed it. It's been quite a good fun tank. I mean, as you saw there, I did bounce from that tier 6 medium. I don't know if it was fully upgraded, but the frontal armour on this isn't too bad. It's got a fairly decent gun. You will have to fire premium ammo at certain things in tier 5, and more often than not in tier 6 matches as well. Against, there's quite a few heavies that you really just can't pen. I think you've got 67 pen on your standard rounds on this gun, but it's got a decent rate of fire, and it's got good mobility and everything else. But anyway, this is a tier 5 match. New map, Liberty Falls. And I think what I've done with this episode is, I think it is every match apart from that first one, which I couldn't record. And it's, like I say, just a bit of a funny day. Just kept getting bottom tier a lot. I think I was only top tier maybe once or twice out of all the matches I played. Could even be once, and most of them I was bottom tier, so it was tier 6 matches, and the rest were tier 5. So yeah, it's been a bit of a tricky day for this, but I have had a lot of help getting out of it with the bully op. I've got that a few times in this today, so that's really given it a bit of a boost to get the 13,000, well, about 13,400 roughly that I needed to get out of it. And at the minute, well, I've come over to the western side, just above the waterfall, and, well, going to town on the OI Experimental. I managed to take him down. I did have to fire quite a bit of premium ammo at him, though. They've got 75mm of armour on the front, I've got 67mm of pen, average at around 100 metres, so yeah, firing quite a bit of premium, so I'll just call me Captain Scrublord. Anyway, back to the normal armour piercing. I'll not need it. APCR against a Type 95. It is a heavy, but it's not a very heavily armoured one. And it's one of the lower tier heavies. In fact, I think there's only 3 tier 4s in the game. That one, the DW2 I think it is, and is it the B1 possibly? And well, obviously there's the B2 premium as well, sorry, 4. So, but in the tech tree there's only those 3 at tier 4. Now, I've got this, well, I had that other Panzer come at me as well, but I've managed to evade most of his shots and take him down. I think, I don't know, he could have possibly been firing armour piercing, I wasn't quite sure there. And I'm going to assist in taking down that other Japanese heavy. Do a little flick because I was feeling very happy with myself. There you go. Just pop out of here. See what I can see, and yeah. An invisible T-67 from somewhere put an end to my shenanigans. But it was still a decent round, just over 1,100 damage done. 220 blocked, and it's down at tier 4, so you know this isn't too bad. Doesn't do a great amount of damage per shot. It did get Bully, which gave me an extra 1,000, and the other op as well, so came out of that with 2,764 damage done. 4 kills and second place on the leaderboard. But I'm quite happy with that. Like I say, I'm a little tier 4, buzzing about in a tier 5 match, but you know, it's fairly competitive, that tank. Even though it is a tier 4, it is really quite competitive in tier 5 matches, as you just saw, and I really did enjoy it. But good things can't last forever, and yeah, we went from that into a few downward spirals, shall we say, with regards to sort of quality of gameplay. I think, well, some of it was down to that, some of it was down to just wrong place, wrong time. And yeah, like I say, quite a few where I was bottom tier. But I have moved on now. Just missed that shot on the M5 Stuart, and he's going for our RT. However, is it RT? Yeah, RT defends himself. Good lad. Now, I've got, like I say, I've unlocked the Panzer 3-4 now. I've also decided, because of where this line leads to, the Leopard 1, and the light tanks also lead into that line, but stop at tier 8. So, I've picked up the Lux, and I'm going to do sort of road to the Leopard 1 side project, if you will. And when I'm, basically, if I, die in battle and I wait for this to return, I can jump in that and go down the light line at the same time. It just seems to sort of make sense, and do it as a little bonus video once a week. But unfortunately, I got myself in a bad place, tracked, ammo rack damaged, and then yeah, boom, done. And yep, it was pretty much more of the same. I have actually done these in order, so this is in the order that I played these games. And this is a tier 6 match. I think it was fairly heavily tier 6 as well. And I've been trying to get into a position where I could... Well, I was trying to get into a position where I was sort of out of sight, or out of view range, but, they were within my render range, obviously spotted by my teammates. But I just couldn't get shots, so I decided to cautiously come into the middle to try and get around on a couple of these guys. And that's when that Hellcat popped up, and I managed to get a shot, pull back, but the ground here, well, it's not quite deep enough to hide me, or it wasn't. So I did take a bit of a beating from him. And that's why, well, just pull around a little bit, trying to get into a better position, but no. He was waiting for me then. I should have just backed off altogether. And then we had, well, I had, sorry, a tier 4 match. So I was top tier. I think this might have possibly been the only time all day while I was in this tank that I was top tier. In fact, well, it's about the only tank I've been in today, actually, on Xbox. But yeah, I think this was the only one where I was top tier, like I say. Just a bit odd today with the matchmaking. But this was a bit of an odd match as well. It was a very steady match. The whole team did quite well, actually. And it was just one of those where, I don't know, it just, you don't really feel like you've done much. But, your team wins. So I'm pushing up to the northwest corner. There's a couple of heavies coming up behind. A lot of them have stayed down at the bottom to cover the corner of fail there. And a little enemy tier 2 T2 light tank, it's a bit of a mouthful, pops around, straight around the corner and behind the rocks. And as many times as I've been on this map, this particular part here, been up to this corner, never been at this bit, never been this far over towards the border, so I wasn't aware that you couldn't get around that side of the rock. So going around the other side, I was just being a bit cautious in case anything popped up on my flank or behind me from that corner. But nothing was there, so bully the poor little tier 2 light tank and move on. But I'm quite enjoying this this Road to Tier 10 series. I'll have to pick some more. A lot of them I've obviously been through on PlayStation as well, but I'll have to try and pick lines that I've not been that far up, or if there's any that I've not done yet, I'll go for those. But yeah, I'm quite enjoying it. But there's me, there's a heavy tank behind us, I think there's a medium and a light, or a couple of lights, possibly, and we're just pushing right round, and you know, I'm expecting resistance from this point. There normally is, and there's just a Chi-He over there on his own. And he's got spotted, but you can see it's got quite a decent rate of fire on this gun. And it's standard rounds, they're good enough to deal with, and well, yeah, I'd say anything you're going to see in a tier 4 match. Most things at tier 5, and some of the stuff at tier 6, but if you can't, you just switch to your premium, and they will deal with it. They will deal with it. And yeah, like I say, as you can see, a bit of a weird match, just not really many people around here. I've not seen many tanks pop up on the map. I've not really particularly been paying too much attention to that sort of southeastern corner over there, the corner of Fail. Just keeping an eye around me, and keeping an eye on the team sort of the team list at the top, if you will, or the team counter, just to see how we were doing. And well, as you can see, we're doing quite well, and we're now able to push straight round through the enemy sort of spawn cap area and start flanking as well. And this is where I have a completely derpy moment. And you see that heavy up on the hill? Yeah, I didn't. I don't know how. I think it was just a complete lack of map awareness, and yep, that's the point where I see him. I'd been using the auto lock to see if I could actually, you know, see to lock onto anything down there. It's what it's quite useful for. And that was a very lucky shot, barely aimed, and it just went where I wanted it to. But yeah, it's a fairly useful thing to do. You know, if you're not quite sure if you can see it, just tap your lock on button. If you can lock on, you then just go in for the aim. But you're already zeroed in on the tank, and you can just fine tune it if need be. And I don't think I'm going to get there. No, there we go. I didn't think I was going to get there to get any more damage done in that match, but yeah, very steady match. I did come out of it with 5 kills. I wasn't even aware that I'd seen 5 tanks. It didn't really seem like I'd done much in that one, but I came out of it with Bully, and I think picking your targets as well, so that's another 1,250 extra XP, and it's just, you know, really helped out today to get out of this tank and get onto the tier 5, because I did miss a week, so I didn't want to spend any more time than I had to on the tier 4, because I'd like to try and get down this line and, you know, crack on with this series. But yeah, just a bit of a funny match in general. And then after that, yeah, it went bad again. So this is Prokhorovka. I think it's a tier 5 match, yeah. And you know, it's not looking too bad. I've come up to the railway. I'm just in the bushes, and I was trying to sneak up, but to be honest, I went too sort of diagonal across the field and couldn't quite get into the actual bushes in time. So stuff popped up, spotted me, and it just went bad from there. As you can see, I just took a big hit from RT, and then well, the A-20, the Russian light tank, was steaming over the hill straight at me for the ram, and yeah, I can see it coming, and there's just nothing I could really do to get out of the way. But he died as well shortly after, so it wasn't too bad. And then again, I was hoping that this one would be the last match in it. I didn't need much, about 1100 XP, something like that, to get out of it. No, yeah, about that roughly. And I thought, do you know what? This tier 5 match, it wasn't very heavily tier 5 either. There were tier 3s in here, and I thought this could be, you know, a decent match and get me out of this tank. And I made a poor decision. Well, it was a, yeah, I think it was a poor decision. I came too far up here, and then I just focused on the keyhole and completely missed the 2 tanks coming up behind me. Yep, we all do it occasionally. I was just wanting to get out of this tank, getting a bit impatient, just completely focused, like I say, on that keyhole, and yeah, I didn't notice these guys, and that was me done. you know, that was it, really. Once they'd snuck up behind me, there wasn't much I could do. So, gave it one more try. Didn't need much. I did get a little bit of experience out of that one. So I didn't need a great deal for this match, so I thought I'd go in it again. Tier 5 match on Ardennes. And this one did turn out to be the last match that I had to do in this tank. So, started off. I'm starting to head over to the southwestern end of the town. And yeah, the team seemed to be spreading quite well. And do a little bit of acrobatics there. And yeah, there's a couple of mediums coming down this way. There's a very brave S-35 that goes steaming straight into the middle of the town. And then somebody tells me to follow them, so yeah, why not? I wasn't quite sure where to go. I thought that S-35 was very brave. I wasn't feeling quite as brave as to go into the middle of the town. It's not a bad tank, this, like I say, it's got fairly decent armour on the front, but you're best off working at about medium range. Especially in a tier 5 match. And yeah, crash into the bridge. Again, I don't know how many times I've been on this map. Never ever been down to these few squares where I'm going now, so never been onto that bridge in fact. If I do come down this way, it's normally into the town, depending on what tank I'm in, or I do come around the end of the town, but not this far around. But, like I said, I thought, why not? Wasn't quite sure where to go in this match. The team, like I say, was spreading quite well. So I thought I'd follow my teammate and see what mischief we could get up to over this way. And we don't really run into much for a while. And I was just beginning to wonder if we were actually going to sort of sneak most of the way round and end up shooting into the rear and the flank of the enemy tanks. That's if, at this point, I was a little concerned about if all the enemy tanks are up the other end of the town, are they going to wipe out our guys because, you know, ours are sort of spread out a bit more. But we do encounter a Hetzer, a lone Hetzer going on a Hetz, I would imagine, or trying to find something too. And I managed to get a few shots into him. And, you know, Hetzers, they're quite a tough tank to penetrate. Not so much from the side, although they can be quite tricky sometimes to the lower tier tanks. But even from the front, this can actually, you know, it doesn't have too much trouble penning it. And then a Matilda shows up. Now that one, I am going to have to switch to premium ammo. And start just, well, being a premium ammo, spamming the Scrublord again against the Matilda. But they've got, what is it, about 70-75 mil of armour, something ridiculous like that, and again, 67 mil of pen. I wanted to make sure it was going to go through, because they are very tough. So yeah, break out the premium. Now, there was a heavy, I don't know if you noticed it, just popped up on the map, roughly in the direction I'm facing now. The other two mediums have gone around to try and get around behind him, and I was wondering if I could actually climb up there and sort of come at him from the side and above. But it doesn't work, and as I turn around there's a T-67 down there, so I thought I'd get a couple of shots in. I do get spotted, and I'm not quite sure what by, and I just assume that it's the heavy that was around here. And it's an OI experimental. They have a couple of very big guns that they can choose from that can yeah, make a big mess. I think one of them does about 300 damage, and I have 350 health, so yeah, potential one shot. He's not got the shotgun, so it looks like he does have the 10cm, so I'm going to have to be careful. And as you can see there, I just was struggling to pen with my standard ammunition again, so switched to the premium, managed to dodge his shot, and then he tries to get around me, so I'm having to reverse, which is not ideal. I'd rather be going forwards. I do manage to take him out, but as you can see, took a huge hit from him and was left on 26 health. So when I got spotted, well, I thought I'd been spotted and did panic a little bit and just want to get the hell out of there, but I think it was just the sort of residual spotting, if you will. And I don't know why I said it, residual spotting, if you will. I really am having trouble with my speech tonight. Now, Me and, well, the guy that said to follow me originally, we're looking a bit worse for wear. And we're 2 tanks down as well, so it's a case of do we sneak up and try and flank. I was considering going after that M8A1. If I could sneak up on him and possibly get the first hit, track him maybe, although it's risky. And yeah, the other two have got the best idea. And there you go. I agree, they definitely have the best idea. With 2 tanks down, we are very worse for wear. You know, they could just, well, we're both ram kills, aren't we? Very easy ram kills, so best thing to do, let's secure the win and get in cap. So I'm going to stick myself behind this bush to give myself as good a chance as possible if anything comes around the corner, not to be spotted. But that's it, cap out for the win. And that did indeed get me enough XP to get out of that tank and into the Panzer 3-4. So that's what we'll be doing next week, starting off with that. I think the first couple of upgrades are free, or the first upgrade is free anyway, so that'll save a little bit. Came second in that one. The captured KV1 looked like he had a decent game, so well done to him. But I was very happy with my own result. But there you go, that's it. So I'll be back tomorrow with another video, and until then, take care out there, and I'll catch you next time. See you later.